All right, good morning, Panther fans, hockey fans. I'm going to start this completely off different this morning. Please, I'm going on strike until you hit the subscribe button. I'm just not going to talk. I'm just going to wait. I'll give you a couple of seconds. I do appreciate it. Genuinely do appreciate it. We good? You hit it? Okay. Maybe that'll work. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to ask.
I
So
mean, it only takes like a millisecond to hit subscribe. We want to hit 6,000.
yeah,
I mean,
I've
we've been
been,
hovering at 5.9 something for like
yeah,
seems forever.
it's been going back and forth between 5,930 and 40 for like 2 weeks now. It's like I gain three, I lose two. I lose two, I gain three. So,
Well,
all right.
I want to welcome our newest subscribers,
Yeah.
Christopher and Jesse from England, from Birmingham, England, who I met at the game before the game last night. I asked Jesse the time and I heard her accent. And then, of course, I was off to the races just talking to them. And they had come in for a vacation and caught a hockey game. So it was really nice meeting you guys. And, of course, I want to give a shout out to Dana. Always fun hanging out with you. And we actually got to sit together and talk about the game and whatnot. And hope we can do it again. I'd love to maybe go next Saturday and see Huberdeau and Uyghur and those new jerseys. So
Is Huberdeau playing again yet? Because I know he was
I
hurt.
don't know. She asked me the same question, but
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
does, great. If he doesn't,
Yeah.
so. But
Well,
Dana, I want you to go next Saturday. Okay, so let me know.
we did see Mackenzie Weegar was on the ice last night. Late in the third period. I don't know it was funny because he was wearing number 16, but he was on the ice and then he was like, he had the puck in front of the net. And for some reason, he tried some kind of crazy pass in the middle and it cost us the game. And so that was definitely Uyghur in a 16 jersey because the captain
Yeah,
wouldn't do that, right? I mean, it
certainly
had to
looked
be.
certainly looked like him. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
horrible. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know what Barkov was thinking at the time. I mean,
right,
obviously Bennett came right back, but it never should have happened.
right.
Never. I mean, you know what? It never should even it came down to that. We totally dominated the first period, 18-3 in shots, and we get
Right,
no goals. And I even
right.
turned to Dana and I'm like, because they almost scored at the end of the period. And I'm like, that would really suck and be typical of us that, we totally outplay a team and they have no shots and they end up scoring on one.
Right, right, right. So,
Um,
um, look, not my biggest thing. I said this a little bit in the recap last night. I'm not the biggest fan of pulling the goaltender. I know in spots it can work, but when you're cycling and dominating and keeping the puck and you've got them on their heels, there's I keep it. Because you bought yourself an extra minute and a half last night, and you end up with the man advantage when you pull the goalie, yes. But then you kind of have to keep that one man back to make sure it doesn't go in the net. And I'm just not a fan. I'd
Listen,
rather
I agree. I agree with you, but I mean, it doesn't matter because that's what coaches do.
I know.
We just don't have the greatest of track records. There's always, not always, there seems to be more of an occasion of the pressure, and it happens all the time, where a guy will just misplay it for a split second.
Right.
Ekblad happens to him all the time, happened to Uyghur. I mean, the guy at the point plays the most important position in one of those situations, and
Right.
all it takes is just a minor or just a flub,
Right.
and the opposing player is gone, and it's an empty net. So,
Right. Right. Right.
um,
And
yeah,
that sequence there at the end, that pretty much epitomizes a lot of the Panthers' lack of success these last few years, which is you've got the empty net and Montour and Ekblad literally just playing catch with each other back and forth. trying to do what? I don't know. It wasn't like Ekblad. It was almost like Ekblad was just giving it back to him, saying, "I don't want it,"
Yeah,
because he wasn't
I'm sorry, and I agree with you. It should have been Forsling and Montour out there. And I'm
right.
not saying Ekblad, like you said, it was something off. It's not that he was laboring, skating, it's his first game back. He's going to be rusty,
Right.
and
I
that's what
mean,
it was. It was rust more than him not skating hard. I didn't notice that. I thought he was
I,
skating fine. But in a
I,
situation like that, you stick with what's been going is Forsling and
right.
Montour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I did what you did because Kyle's been there helping me pick up some of the streams. So I did a little bit of just focusing on Ekblad. Skating straight, handling the puck, that all looks fine. But I was very intently watching when he had to change directions. And I would be willing to put money that he's not 100%, or at least not 100% confident in his mind. Because when I was watching him make turns, he's making wide turns. When he was changing directions, he was not with force swiveling those hips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was with purpose skating, skating in a circle rather than doing a quick. You saw it when he lost the puck at the blue line that ended up being the empty net. He turned, but it almost looked like a Yandel turn where he couldn't quite move his hips the way he wanted to, and then he didn't even really take off and skate after the guy. So I don't think he's still hurt. Maybe it's a mental thing where he knows, if you rush a groin back and you pull it again, you're screwed. Like you said, you get past the first 5 games and then you're probably good to go. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's still hurt, but he was definitely, I watched a few times in front of the net and everything, and he was not turning the way we're used to him seeing, putting on a dime and making turns and everything. So,
Dude, he had an opportunity to tie that game, and he was all by himself. And instead of a fucking snap or wrist shot high up in that top corner, he takes a fucking slap shot.
They re-showed it on TV. They slowed it down into the close-up. And what they showed was the space that Ekblad was going for. And there was I don't know, a foot, there was maybe a foot and a half of net until the bottom. He was going for the upper corner and he got it high enough over the goalie, but he missed. I mean, just wide. I mean, like an inch wide.
Yeah, it happened right in front of me. But
Yeah,
in a situation like that, he was so alone.
He was
Or,
alone.
I
I
mean,
know.
he did not have to take a slap shot.
Right. Well,
So, but
other than that,
there was another instance on the power play where he had a one-timer and missed it. So again, I'm
yeah,
chalking it up to being out a month or whatever,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
just being rusty.
Right,
But I'm really pissed off that that Maurice had him out there at the end
yeah, right,
instead of two guys that are both capable of moving the puck, keeping the
right,
puck in the zone.
right.
I have 100% faith in Forsling and Montour in that
Yeah,
situation. Maybe Ekblad a month into his comeback, you know what I mean? But
right.
not his first game back.
And Maurice had even said himself, that's why he put him with Stahl. There's no need to rush him back. Well, we're not going to throw him out there for a ton of minutes. So that just made no sense.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he kept Forsling and Montour as the top,
Right,
as he should have.
right. So who knows what he'll do now that we lost? But what
One
did you
move,
think?
yeah.
What did you think about Knight? I mean, what did you think about the 2 goals in the third period?
Well, I haven't watched any of the replays. From what I saw, it was the two power play goals. There were two guys in front of him,
Right.
an Oiler guy and a Panther guy, and he was
Yeah.
screened on both. And I don't think he saw either of them.
Right.
Tyson Berry has a great shot.
Yeah.
And he buried him. I mean, that's something that we didn't do. Our power play, Kachuk should not be behind the net.
Right.
He should not be behind the net quarterbacking. That's what's going on. He should
I
be
know.
in front of the net
I know.
doing
I
what
know.
he does best,
Yep.
screening the goalie and getting rebounds. That's
Right.
where the power play's failing. They're moving it around, but that's all they're doing is moving it around. They're not shooting. You got to shoot. You got to get 3-4 shots at least on a power play.
Right.
At least.
Right. Well,
I
they
don't
did get.
know. You tell me, how many shots did we get on our power plays?
I don't know. Well, I mean,
I think we only had 2 the whole game, right?
well, they did get the one power play goal. The first goal was actually before it expired. But that doesn't take away from what you're saying. It's the only thing that and this is I'm not going to go into I told everybody. I'm not going to go into that to say this is what I called, but I just had the sense from Maurice and his original press conference and the words that he's used and how he's talked about things that he's a very methodical type of coach, and he's going to think something's going to work and he's going to try it, and he might stick with it a little bit too long. He's going to be slow to make changes. But I feel like his theory is that, look, we're not worried about winning the President's Trophy. So over the course of the season, there's going to be things that don't look so good, and then things that, okay, once it does look good, I'm going to keep it this particular way, like with Lundell and Reinhart finally figuring that out. So what I'm feeling like, and I think we've seen this a little bit, where it's taken him a little bit longer than we'd like to figure certain things out. But one by one, he is getting the things right. With the exception of losing Bolsters, but that's a different story. That's a different story.
We'll talk about that, but I will give him props. And this is something that you and I don't think either one of us even mentioned moving Lombard on the Lundell Reinhardt line.
Right.
That's a great move. And I said that to Dana. That Lombard was our number 1 star last night.
No, he was good. And
the minute the puck drop, that kid works his ass off.
Yeah,
every shift, he goes at 110. There's no dogging with that kid.
Right. And when I saw the lines, at first I thought, well, why did they take Luster running off? But then I thought about it. With Lundell and Reinhart, you have 2 guys that can take the face-offs. And when Bennett and Luster-Ryan, you got 2 guys that can take the face-offs. So I think that evens things out a little bit better. To some extent.
I got a different take.
All right.
It's just balance. It's just balancing out the lines.
Right.
I liked Luster-Rainen and White on Bennett's wings. And again, I have 110% confidence in Lundberg's abilities to, get in the corners, doing that stuff that Marchment does and did.
Right.
And Lundberg's proven that he can score goals.
Right. No, he can pick his spot and shoot. He don't miss the net. You don't see a lot of Lundberg missing the net. That's for sure.
Yeah. So again, that was a really good move. I'd like this again. Just practice and reps and playing with each other.
Right.
Let's get settled in. If these are the lines, stick with them, okay?
Right.
And just let them continue to do. I mean, Luster-Rainen, I love that kid. I can't say enough about him. And Bennett obviously scoring 2 goals.
Yeah. Well, he got demoted because the way that they lined up the lines, they had the Lundell line as 2 and Bennett as 3. So then Bennett said, yeah, I don't think that, Bennett pulled a Bob, right? With Spencer. I ain't going to let this kid just take my job. You know what I mean? So, but that's good. It's good for competition. You know what I mean? That's fine. Now let's talk a little bit about the Bolsters thing.
Wait, we gotta mention one other thing that is extremely important when you're playing Edmonton. The Panthers did a fantastic job covering McDavid. That's the key to beating Edmonton. Not so much Draisaitl, but they were blanketing McDavid, and McDavid tried to pull a couple of his patented
Yeah.
shimmy shake, his quick moves that he does in the offensive zone. And there were
Right.
two Panthers on him
Yeah.
every time he touched the puck. So
Right.
they did exactly what I said and what I wanted them to do. You gotta, just like Ovechkin and Stan, those are the type of players, the Panther killers, that you gotta be on top of like flypaper. So good job in that. Um,
Right.
okay, so let's talk about Balsers. I mean, what's there to say? It was
Well,
probably
what I don't get is okay. I mean, I know we got the cap space and all of that, but why aren't we waiving Stahl? Nobody's going to
yes,
take him. You put him in the minors until something happens, and then we keep both guys.
agree 110%. I made a comment, I commented on a comment, from the last video, and
Right.
I'm in 100% agreement with you. It was probably Zito's. I'm not gonna say one bad move because he signed that freaking Johansson goalie last year. That was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was that was
That
his one
was
bad move.
questionable.
That was his one bad move last year. But this is probably the worst move that he made. That to give up on that kid, stupid.
Right.
And of all
And right.
places to go to, you watch. This kid's gonna do some damage to us this season. He's
Yeah.
gonna have a big chip on his shoulder playing against us. You watch. But
Right.
you're right. The logical thing would have been to waive Stahl. Most probably nobody would have taken him.
Who's going to take him?
Okay.
Right.
Um,
And then you stash him in the
and
AHL.
I'll
And
tell you why. I'll tell you why. That's Maurice going with the veterans again and going with the guy that he had in, Carolina, right?
right. So the other part there is that it does open up the spot for Lombard, and it does make it so that if anybody gets hurt, first man up is Heponiemi. So I would have preferred Balsers to get picked up by like Winnipeg or somebody else. But I mean, it had to be Tampa. That was what got me. It's like when I saw he was waived, it's like, man, I don't know about that. But then when you see when it was Tampa, it's like, dude, come on, right?
Yep.
Because they're eventually they're going to pay us back for Carter Verhaeghe. Okay, eventually that's going to happen.
No,
You
I
know,
said you watch what happens the next time we play Tampa.
right,
I can almost guarantee you that Balsa is going to do some damage.
right, right. Well, and then the other thing is
By the
yeah, but
way, I know you're not a big fan of his, but I don't think Stahl was playing all that
no,
bad.
no, no. I don't think either one of them are playing
Okay,
bad.
maybe you didn't say it. There were some comments, there were some comments made that basically he's washed up, and he's not washed up. He's
Mark
just,
Stahl, Mark Stahl is playing fine. Mark Stahl is playing. I mean, he made a couple plays last night. No problems with him whatsoever. Eric Stahl is on the fourth line. He's not. What we have now is we may not have the same quality, at least on paper, people think we have. But we don't have a Yandel. We don't have a Uyghur. We don't have anybody out there, every other night going, what the hell are you doing? We don't have anybody doing that. So, and even with Eric Stahl, he's not going to be lighting up. He's a fourth line older guy, but he's taking face-offs, he's winning draws, and he's not hurting us. And we
he's
kind of
done a
got spoiled.
he's done a decent job on the PK.
Right, 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 right. It's not like Yandel when he was older and you could physically see that the dude shouldn't be out on the ice. He couldn't turn his hips anymore. Stahl, for whatever reason, I mean, maybe the year off rejuvenated him, and this is his last burst of gas that he's got. And maybe Maurice is hoping to ride it. So I don't have any really big complaints about either one of them. It just we probably could have kept them both. And when you talk about want to have a long playoff run, that does eventually play off. But remember, they did have Heponiemi up for the 2 games that Kachuk was out. So maybe Zito and Maurice were looking at Heponiemi going, maybe we don't want to block him anymore, and let's go ahead and let Balsers go, because Heponiemi was never going to be on this team without, significant movement with Balsers there. So, I mean, that could have played into it. They could have looked at how Heponiemi was playing and figured, okay, six and one half dozen of another, right? But so where are we? I mean, we are. I keep looking at what I said: 11, 7, and 2. And like I said last night in the recap, every time it looks like we're going to be better than that, we lose, and every time it looks like we're going to be worse than that, we win a couple of games. At this point,
we should have won that game yesterday.
Last night is a game we should have won. That was the first game, really.
18-3. And then I pointed it out to Dana during the with 10 minutes left in the second. We only had 2 shots.
Right.
And Edmonton had almost caught up to us in shots.
Yeah, they had almost caught. Yeah. We were watching the same thing with the shots. It was like 18-3, and then at one point, yeah. No, I know. We're getting 40, 50 shots a game. Is it? And what I really feel like the coaches and players should do is, let's sit down. Let's just watch our shots, because we're playing good defensively. We know we've got good goaltending. If Bob wakes up, okay. What's the biggest problem is the shots are not going in the net. That's really the biggest problem we have right now. So let's sit down and focus on, okay, here's the shot. What could I have done differently? Is it bad luck? Because there's a lot of shots going into the belly of the goaltenders. You know what I mean?
And you had this Stuart Skinner. Who the F is Stuart Skinner, man? I never even heard of this guy.
But dude, we're the Panthers. If you could pick a goalie up off the street, you could pick a homeless guy off the street, put him in pads, and if it's his first game and nobody knows his name, he's gonna goalie us. It's been that way since the franchise was born. How many? And in the bad years, it was bad. In the bad years, other teams would play their third goalie against us just out of spite, and he'd freaking shut us out. It's just the thing, man. I don't know what it is, but it's just our thing. And just like some teams,
Knight didn't play bad yesterday. He made one unbelievable save in the beginning part of the game.
Yeah,
it also happened right in front of us. See, I like the seats that Dana has is you get to see the opposition shoot twice.
Okay.
Panthers defending. So I like that, that you're able to see, like I said, I zeroed in on McDavid all game. I just really love watching that kid. He's something else. But how fast things happen with him.
Right.
I really like the job, and that's the one thing we shut him down. We shut Draisaitl down.
He did get a couple of assists there.
Were scored by Tyson Berry. Has a really good shot.
No, yeah.
And the last power play that call.
How many times did we see it last year? You can shut Barkov and Huberdeau.
I'm talking about the Ekblad penalty that cost us the game.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was bullshit because the Edmonton guy was holding Ekblad. The referee didn't call that.
No, I know. He waited to the end. I didn't
really see Ekblad holding the stick. All I saw was Ekblad was on his back and he couldn't get up. So I don't know what was going on. And for the referee to call that penalty towards the end of the game was bullshit.
Basically, what the referee did was ignored the previous 30 seconds of activity and called the last 5 seconds of activity where Ekblad was holding his stick, but he ignored everything that led up to that, which it should have just been 2-2. And you don't call that. But at the same time, a quick goal. And look, the last 2 goals, I'm not going to blame Spencer Knight. I'm not going to say he should have had them, but it would have been nice to have gotten one of those 2. I know the Barkov one probably really, really surprised him, obviously.
Because you knew as soon as Barkov coughed it up, it was going in, right?
Yeah. It was going in because, and look, that's not Barkov's norm. What you took the words out of my mouth. It's like, what was he thinking? Because when they showed the replay, he was trying some fancy behind the back, between the legs pass, and
you don't do that towards the end of the game.
No, not. I mean,
good. Again, that's the type of stuff that Weegar did.
Right.
That infamous game, I think it was against the Rangers, and I think it might have been at the Garden. I'm not sure where it was, whatever. But Uyghur tried a stick handle by three guys
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right in front of his net,
Yeah.
and it got intercepted or stolen, whatever. And
Right,
of
right,
course,
right.
they scored. I mean, you don't
Right.
do that. That's just bad hockey sense. That's just bit. And Barkov is not a. He doesn't have a
No.
low. He's got a high hockey IQ. He
Right.
should have known. Believe me, he's kicking himself on that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
We don't usually see him do some bonehead thing like that, but it
no,
happens, right?
that was the first thing either Goldie or Randy said is like, well, you don't see that often, but here we are, you know. All right, so we blow a game that we shouldn't have blown. We come back Tuesday. I've got another couple of days rest here so they can catch up on things. And I think really the main thing they need to work on is getting those pucks in the net. They're getting the shots, they're creating the opportunities. I would like to see them getting a little bit better with going after the rebounds, and if they can't get a shot off, still keeping possession of the puck. There's too many one and dones and back the other ways.
That's another point. Dana, you remember the comment I made to you that the shot should be going off the goalie's pads, and the rebound should be popped in.
Right.
What they really need to do is focus on getting Kachuk away from behind the net on the power play.
Right.
It's not working, guys. It's just not working. They got to get him in front. He's not scoring from behind the net. There were a couple of instances where he took the puck from behind the net and tried to go out in front.
Right.
But
yeah.
he should be, anchored. That's the word. He should be anchored in front, creating havoc, taking the goalie's eyes away, because Edmund, the opposing team has to have a player on him.
Right.
So that, again, there's two guys in front of the goalie, taking his eyes away from, and that's exactly what happened to us.
Well,
we didn't do that.
Last thing I'll say is the issues that we have are the best possible issues for us to have, because defense, good. Goaltending, we're good. Okay. Penalty kill, good. Get the puck in the net. And when you look at the guys on the roster, I do not suspect we're going to go through a whole season and playoffs without them being able to figure out how to get the puck in the net. If we were, I'd rather be losing these games than going, oh, great, 5-4 because the defense sucked, because that's not fixable. And with the, you know what I mean? You're either got it or you don't. We have the forwards. We know they can score. It's just a matter of getting the chemistry right and getting on a little bit of a roll. And I still have confidence in this team. I'm not worried. This is how I thought it was going to go, and when I heard Randy say that Maurice said we're not really all that concerned with wins and losses right now, we're just working on the system and the style of play, then I ain't going to freak out about wins and losses, because to me, what I see what Maurice is doing. I think he's getting the results that he's expecting to get, and he's a very cerebral coach, and he's saying, okay, we're going to make this little change. He's not going to blow everything up in panic all at once. And I think gradually, as the season goes on, as he makes one change and it works and he leaves it, he'll get it figured out and we'll be fine. That's what I kind of said in the season preview, and so far is exactly what I'm seeing. So I'll let you have the last word.
No, yeah, I agree. Like I said, I like the way the lines are now.
Right.
Let's just keep them and go with them and let these guys work it out amongst themselves. I'm going to put the puck hog label back on Verhaeghe, because he pulled that shit again yesterday, and it was just like I was getting really pissed off.
There was nobody open. I know the play you're thinking about, because I was watching it and I said Stu's going to be bitching about that, but they weren't open, bro. They weren't. They had defenders on.
Yeah, but he had two two separate occasions or whatever, two separate opportunities on that one shift where he could have, dropped it off to the defenseman. In fact, it was almost an automatic that you do that. I think it might have even been Montour.
Right.
Where we're in the offensive zone and he's doing his dipsy doodling and shit. And he could have dropped it off and then headed to the net, and he didn't do it. He just kept the puck. All right, so that's
Carter Verhaeghe hat trick incoming on Tuesday.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I'm just saying.
Because not only is he going to see this today, but he's going to have tomorrow off to stew about what Stu said. Well, so he's going to be good and pissed off by Tuesday.
Hey, Swaggy, you're welcome to give me the finger after you score the hat trick next game, okay? Right now,
man. Please, you got the
you got the puck hog label back on you, okay? So I that's one. That's two about the lines, keeping lines. I don't think Stahl and Bled played bad together. I like the fact he kept Forsling and Montour together. The big thing for me, Eric, is getting that power play, changing that around, because that it's not working. What they're doing with Kachuk behind the net,
right,
not working.
All right. We appreciate all the support.
Bob on Tuesday.
They
gotta get him some goals. That's the key to that. That's the key to that game. You can't score one or two goals and expect Bob to, and he's done it, but I'm more comfortable getting Bob his 4 goals.
Yeah, we need to start putting the puck in the net a little bit more. No doubt about that. All right, so Colin and I will be back in about 3 hours to start the Dolphins stream. And I'm sure I'll have some Panthers content out tomorrow at some point. And that's it. That's it, guys. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Okay. If you guys don't stop panicking, I'm gonna start bringing the puppets back out.
No, seriously,
guys. That'll do it. That'll trust me. If you guys keep panicking, I'm gonna Francisco your ass every freaking intro. So
listen. There's a lot of teams out there that are playing shittier than we're not playing bad.
We're fine.
We're just not catching a break here and there. We need to score more. That's all.
I said this on Twitter, and it just amazes me. I've been doing this is my 7th season, and obviously I've been a fan the whole time. Before that, and I just can't believe how fast this fan base got spoiled by one good regular season. And now, any other year, take any other year, if we'd be 17 points in second place before last night, the Panthers are doing good. We're any other year. So let's be cool. Cool.
What gets me is some, not us, and not the really true fans that see the big picture, but there's a lot of fickle Panther fans out there that the minute that we have a bad game or something happens or a bad goal goes in or whatever, it's the end of the world.
Right.
What game are we into now?
What was that last night? 14? I think it was 14.
Dude, there's 82 games, man.
Yeah.
I said I don't really give a crap what happens so much at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Let's just peak in March.
Right. That's what Maurice said.
Let's bring it on at the end of February, all through March and April, because we peaked too early last year and we went out with a whimper.
Yep.
I want the opposite. All I want is to stay in the race. Okay, stay in those top 3.
Right.
Doesn't matter where we end up, who we play. Right. Let's just go into the playoffs ready for action.
Yep.
That's all. That's the last thing I'll say on this one.
All right, guys. We appreciate all the support.
Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button.
Please. So go ahead.
I want to address one last thing. So I apologize. Forgot the person that was going at me about Uyghur. Okay. Again, this is why we have this podcast. We can have differences of opinion and agreements. You guys know how I feel about Uyghur. There's some other people that might have a difference of opinion on Uyghur. You know, Uyghur's not better than Montour. I think, yeah, whatever. Uyghur's not here anymore. So it doesn't matter. It's past history, okay? We have the players that we have now, and I like the players that we have now. Everybody thought the defense was going to fall apart without Uyghur.
Right.
Defense is pretty solid. And I'd say as a whole, I think this is a better defense than we had last year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
This kid, Mahura, you don't hear nothing about him. He just goes about his job, does his thing, doesn't make major mistakes.
Right.
Obviously, I'd love to see him, you know, score a little bit. Same thing with Forsling. I mean, if Forsling, after that 8 games where he was scoring, like if he could only just like get on fire, and score some goals,
right?
Oh my God, man, I just can't, you know. But it's gonna be okay, guys. No panic.
Yeah, we'll be
okay.
All right, guys.
We're gonna win the cup, right, Eric?
I've been saying it. Look, I mean,
George Stradamus.
That's why I keep saying, I need people to understand, that's why I keep saying they're doing exactly what I said they were going to do, because I said they were going to win the cup. So if they keep doing exactly what I said they were going to do, and we extrapolate that out all the way, it's a good thing. That's why I keep saying it, because I'm convincing myself. I'm like, okay, this is what I said was going to happen, so don't panic. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, I mean, we're so early in the year, and
right.
Games like this are going to happen, but
Yep. All right, guys. Yep. We'll see you.